Hello, my crafty friends. Today I am sharing my September 2024 sheetload of cards. The sheetload is the brainchild of Alicia at Call Me Crafty Al. On the first of every month, she provides this sketch and cutting guide, and it is free to subscribers of her YouTube channel. On the first of each month, she debuts the sheetload, shows you her finished cards, and then the second of the month she has a process video with tips and tricks, and then she has a creative team, a collaboration team, and they all share their videos as well. There will be a link below for you to click on and be taken to what the rest of the creative team did, and it's so much fun to check out what all of the others did with the same sketch and cutting guide and how different the cards look depending on what papers and embellishments they chose, or if they made any alterations, because remember, it is a sketch, which means it is a jumping off point. Now this month is exciting because it's a mini slimline. I do love making mini slimlines, and it's actually based on one of my videos from 3 years ago, I think. And I will also have that linked in the description box below, as well as the collaboration or playlist link that will be down there as well. And in my video, I shared 3 mini slimlines with a bit of a fun fold using 3 different 6x6 pattern papers and no scraps. It's one of my most popular videos, which is very cool. And so Alicia asked if she could use it for a sheet load, and then asked if I would be the guest designer this month. So I'm very, very excited. And it's good to be back sharing my cards on the second with the rest of the creative team. So I'm going to get right into showing you my cards. Oh, and this month the yield is 12 cards. Now, I donate a lot of birthday cards, so being able to make 12 cards, that's awesome. And if you don't want to make 12, she also gives you the dimensions for making a single card. Now for here, we're using 3 12x12 pattern papers. Here are the cards that I made this month. So you can see there's a bit of a fun fold to them. There is this flap, and they open like that. Now I get a lot of questions about envelopes for mini slimlines. Normally, the mini slimlines that I make are 3.5 by 6 inches, but in order to take advantage of the 6-inch pattern paper and still have a border all the way around, these cards are 3.5 by 6.25 inches, and they still fit in those number 8 or 6 3/4 inch envelopes. And in the United States and Canada, at least, these envelopes are readily available at your dollar stores, pharmacies. It's a very common size. So I divided them up. So I do have my 12 cards, but I wanted, of course, to make them all a little bit different. And that's how you make them your own, by choosing what element or sentiment you're going to put as a focal image. So I did kind of, as I say, divided mine up on these 3 here. I used a stamp set, a couple of stamp sets actually. This one is quite old from Stampin' Up. There is a stamp and die set, and I got it secondhand. I kind of missed it when it was out in the catalog the one year, and I really, really like it. So I was glad I was able to get my hands on it. And then I also used I Be Fierce by Picket Fence Studios. So I really loved those little bees. And you can see I also add a little bit of Wink of Stella to the wings, and then the dots that's a peg stamp by Stamps by Judith, and it's just a little rubber stamp. It's my absolute favorite dot stamp. I don't ever put it away. It's just so handy to add just a little something something. That's where the dots came from, and my sentiments are different because I didn't make all birthday cards. So the Wishing You Sunshine and Happiness came from that stamp set, and Have a Beautiful Day is an older stamp set from Elizabeth Craft Designs. So that's what I used on these 3 cards. And I apologize if my audio is a little bit off. I got a new phone and didn't realize that, of course, my microphone will no longer connect to my phone. So those are those 3 cards, and then these 3. And I have one here that I'm going to show you how I attach my stuff together. So I'll show you that in a little bit. So here's these 2, again, keeping with the bee themed. The pattern paper, because there's no scraps, I didn't have any left. I pulled some older paper. I know this dot is from Bo Bunny, and the other 2, I can't remember offhand. I meant to keep the little header sheets so I could at least read those names to you, but apparently I didn't keep those. I do have them listed on my blog. Oh, and I will also link my blog in the description box below. So those are the 3 pattern papers that I used, and I thought that cute little bee would be a good time to pull out my Stamps of Life set. So there's Bee for Me and Hive for Bees. So I also got some of the sentiments from that stamp set as well. and they were just stamped with black ink, colored with alcohol markers, and then Wink of Stella again on the wings. So the first 3 that I showed you are the Happy Mail that I can send out, and these ones are birthday cards. Happy birthday. So that's those ones. And now these 4 all have the same happy birthday that's on the inside here, and then the Picket Fence, I have trouble saying that, Picket Fence Studios B, and then more dots. And inside have a beautiful day. So the birthday cards will be donated to my mom's old nursing home. Now these final 2 here, I wanted to do something different, but still keeping with the bee theme. So I have this pad or stack, I guess. It's called the Little Book of Bees, and it's from Hunky Dory. They're UK sizing, so they're almost 4 by 6 or a little bit more than 4 and a little bit less than 6 inches, but it's a whole probably 1 inch thick stack of printed panels that are all in the bee theme. And so I thought this one would work. I think there's 4 of each design in the pad. So I pulled out 2, and you know, it's kind of thin, but I used a stitched die or a double stitched die from Divinity Designs, a circle die, and I just cut that section out of the paper. And I kept that just to show you. And I attached it, added some Stickles glitter glue to the flower centers, and then I stamped one of the Picket Fence Studio bees on here. The paper is glossy, so I did stamp the bee and then set the circle aside to dry overnight, and then came in and crossed my fingers and hoped. I didn't use Memento ink, which I should have. I used VersaFine because that's what I had out for the sentiments, and I wasn't sure if it was going to dry. And if it didn't, I would have carefully wiped it away with a bit of tissue and then stamped the bee on, because there would be a smudge there no matter what. Stamp the bee on white cardstock and fussy cut it out and then glue it on top. So I was going to use that bee either way, but it just worked fine. So then I have those 2. So when I'm donating the birthday cards, they're not all going to look the same. And actually, I think these are kind of cute. I might keep 1 or 2 for my stash. So I'm going to move these out of the way a little bit. And then I wanted to talk about, let me grab the Sheetload. I know people are going to complain about the wasted cardstock because you're using 1 sheet of cardstock for the card bases, and then you've got all this left over. Well, Alicia has shown that you can cut your circles out of that. And then this is all very usable cardstock. So here's that bottom strip, and I've kept these. I've already used some of them. They're going to be perfect for adding or for die cutting borders, for matting fishtail banners, for sentiments. Like, this is not wasted cardstock at all. And then even my circles, and again, I've used a couple of those. So here's where I die cut the circles from. And all of this is completely usable to white heat emboss a sentiment. And even this strip here. So I will be cutting these strips down to use to mat either fishtail banners or white heat emboss sentiments. So in fact, I'm not going to have very much waste at all. There's no pattern paper left over, and all of this leftover cardstock can be used. Now here is my final one that I didn't assemble. I wanted to show you how I close it. So when you're doing the cutting, there is, you know, this piece, the measurements give you a nice even border all the way around for the inside panel, and the same with this. It's a nice inside panel. This one, it doesn't come right to the edge. Now you can still use your card like that, not worry about that at all, but I tend to like to adhere my flap down. So rather than an accordion, it opens as a kind of a shorter card front. So I use thin foam tape rather than full foam tape. I've been using thin foam tape for so long. I buy a couple of rolls at a time from Uline, and they last me a year or 2. But most scrapbook stores also carry thin foam tape. Maybe not in a square, but they will carry thin foam tape. So I know it's readily available for crafters. So then I put that down, and I only have it at the top and the bottom, and that allows me to add foam tape here where I can add my piece. And I only have a single layer of thin foam tape, whereas if I put the foam tape in the middle here and then this, then I'm going to have an extra layer of bulk going through the mail. Unfortunately, the post offices that I have close to, I live out in the country, man, they weigh everything and slide everything through that little slot. Like, I don't get away with sending things for a single stamp very often. So if I can kind of cut down on the bulk a little bit by using thin foam tape and not adding it underneath other layers. That's how I do that. Normally when I do a card like this, I add the front first and then make the inside work, and I've shown that in other videos. But for this one, because it's such a high contrast, I wanted to make sure that my borders were even on either side. So I got my inside circle glued down first, and then on this one, just lift off the foam tape. I did pre-lift the liners because with the U-line ones, sometimes it can be really tricky. And then I'm just going to add this on top. So there's only one layer of foam tape down that center, and the card opens like this. I hope you enjoyed my video today. Be sure to check out what all of the creative team has done. Make sure you subscribe to Alicia's YouTube channel and download your own sheet loads. On your sheet load, there are hashtags for you to put in social media so we can come and see what you've done as well. Thanks for watching, and that's it for me today.